This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.
That's number one. You kind of reset me.
Painful, tender to the touch. May also
Same shoulder length, and the other. In addition to strength, I want to talk about because there's like different mechanisms that make muscle grow.
Yep.
So, but before we do that, I want to tell everybody we got these waters.
We took a break. If you're wondering, we magically had 4 water bottles.
4 water bottles showed up, and we dropped hydrogen tabs in these.
Pretty good. No.
Yeah.
It's like a light.
Yeah, this one is flavored with raspberry, and they use
I like that.
actual
I think
raspberries.
the magnesium is what flavors it. 'Cause
But it
magnesium has a
has-
little sour taste to it.
But it has raspberry
Has
in it.
Raspberry powder? Oh, okay.
So
There was like some dextrose too. There's probably.
it's I prefer the unflavored one. This one is fine, but I'm not a soda drinker. I don't usually
Right.
like sweet stuff. I drink plain tea. I won't drink sweet tea because we're
That's
not in the South.
What's
Sorry.
interesting is even when I was on that like calorie deficit,
Yep.
when I started drinking these before the workouts, my strength started to come back,
Oh.
even though it had gone down because of the
Right,
cut.
just literally from a hydration standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's-
could be.
It's that vital.
Because these hydrogen tabs are supposed to dilate your capillaries, so you're infusing more oxygen. And
No, that
blood
makes
into
sense. So your
smaller
uptakes,
tissues.
yeah. So you get more reps out of a
Yeah.
certain load or of whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
it's very cool.
so muscle grows
You got to drink this right away, by the way.
under
Oh,
load.
really? Oh,
Right? So just picking up heavy things is going to stress the muscle, stimulate growth, right? But then there's the whole slow negative, or sometimes you'll want to go even heavier, and not that I do this in my routine, don't worry, but they'll cheat on the way up and then
Like a
slow
forced
negative.
rep.
Yeah. But then there's this thing called metabolic stress.
Mhm.
What is that?
Well, I mean, you're tapping into I guess you'd be talking more so what's it in reference to, tapping into central nervous
building
system.
up so much
right?
lactic acid,
Right,
and
right.
getting such a giant pump that makes it so you're not lifting heavy, but you're doing these large.
It's like myo reps or whatever
sets.
they
Yeah.
call it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
right, and
Yeah.
then Tabata was like one of those things for a
Oh,
while,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, it's in my opinion, I don't think there's much there on paper.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be totally wrong, so don't judge me for that. But it's kind of like BFR too. It kind of falls in that
Yeah.
category, right? It's a blood flow restriction training or
Okay.
occlusion training, right?
Yeah.
You're now taking a set that you would do maybe 12 to 15 reps with, that you would do 30 reps with, and you're breaking it down into segments and doing like a
Micro
rest
set, yeah.
pause theory on it. Yeah. So basically you're getting as much blood in your using occlusion through
Right.
bands or whatever you're using
Right.
to restrict blood flow on purpose, pumping that muscle up until you can't get it anymore, basically with a large amount of reps, a high amount of volume,
Right.
and then releasing that band to allow that blood to rush back in and localize, which was BFR was created by physical therapists for injury prevention or
Okay.
healing
Healing.
injuries. Yeah. And then
Got it.
on the bodybuilding world, they're like, well, it's this metabolic stress, right?
Right.
It's going to cause the fascia to stretch
Yeah.
more, which
Maybe.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, localizing a ton of blood to an area is a great thing.
Is always a good thing.
That's
The
what you wanna do
stretching
with
part, I don't know.
Have you guys read Franco Colombo's book?
No, I have not.
No.
I think it's called Winning or Art of Winning or Secret to Winning or something. But so if everyone doesn't know, Franco Colombo was Arnold Schwarzenegger's best friend.
Right.
He passed away recently. But it's really funny because he's very old school. And I think listened to the Audible, and I think he read it himself with his accent.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it's like a
it's
heavy
very fun. So he has these theories. He calls them junk reps. He goes, if you're doing over 20 reps, your first 10 reps are junk reps. You're absolute waste of time. Don't ever do a 30 rep set.
Yeah.
The other thing he says you got to train a muscle till that body part starts to sweat. Which sounds kind of funny. So I don't know. I mean, I've never had just the bicep start to sweat.
Yeah.
But he goes, you do it right, you'll sweat in the
Sweating,
area
or is it tears?
in the muscles. And his other philosophy was you never back down on the weights. You go up, 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 and the last thing you do is the heaviest thing you do. Then you move over to a different exercise. Don't ever back down. So those were his things, but I've never seen that from
A lot
anybody
of old
else.
school principles. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've got Mike Mentzer who said train it
heavy duty training.
one rep every 9 days.
Arthur Jones and Mike Mentzer, they're actually from my area where I grew up. They're him and his brother. And they now here's what I heard on that though. This is actually from I don't know who told us this. It was someone we know though. That was in the Golds era, was a trainer at Golds during that time. Anyway, Mike used to train with a ton of high volume.
That's funny.
So like, he didn't do any of that.
Kind of like the
It was
Arnold
all-
stuff.
It was all
what
a
he
selling
said.
point.
Yeah.
Just
Because
like
it was when
Arnold,
Arthur Jones came out with the Nautilus line.
Right.
And it was a good catch your eye
Right.
gimmicky thing where
Yeah.
this heavy duty training principle where you
Yeah.
only train 2 days a week, 3 days a week,
Right.
the Dorian-esque way.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have like a Milos Sarsakov
Yeah.
that does like 8
But
billion
the
reps with
polar
like basically
opposite.
the metabolic kind of stress that you're talking about.
Right.
Polar opposite has like 1 plate per side, and you're doing a rep. You're doing in the rep range, time under tension for like 3 minutes total.
Oh my gosh.
Completely opposite.
Wow.
And you have a massive bodybuilder doing that, and then you have a massive bodybuilder doing the heavy duty. Which is better? I don't know. You have to try
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And everyone's body responds to different stimulus, different
Right.
ways,
100%.
different times, and so
Well,
and then
it's,
Dorian
how much
Yates
you're
was
eating
into,
and recovering and
Yeah.
hydration, and
of course.
so
So
There's a
Dorian,
lot there.
Dorian Yates was so he did like one main set
yes.
per body part, but he wasn't as infrequent as as
Mike
Metzer.
yeah.
And
I think he trained 4
he
days a
was
week.
into pre-fatigue, right? Didn't he pre-exhaust the muscle before he did that main?
It was prioritization of exercise.
Okay.
So he didn't heavily rely on like you have to do barbell squats
first. Yeah.
okay.
to get your legs big. Like he was big on the hack squat. He was big on, so he would hit like the leg press, I think, first
Okay.
because it didn't really matter the priority. Like your muscles don't know which exercise. Like,
Right.
oh, we're doing barbell squats first.
Yeah.
You have to do those first. Doesn't matter. You
Right.
go out in the woods
Yeah.
and squat a log, and your body
Right.
doesn't know the difference, right?
Yeah.
It's just mechanical movement, with
contracting.
load.
Yeah.
That's it. So that he was big on that, and he just did what works. I mean, over the years, that's what I've done. That's what
Yeah.
Mark's done
Yeah.
too.
Just
We just take like there's so many things I was like, I have to barbell row, I have to bench press, I have to deadlift. Well, until discs are herniated, now I don't deadlift that much anymore, right? So you know,
I
they're
haven't deadlifted in 5 years.
but what and like why don't we deadlift though?
We've herniated discs.
Okay, he'll answer
But,
this.
yeah.
Ready? When did my back? What was one of the weakest points of my body?
Back.
My back.
Yeah.
When did my back come up the most?
When you stopped doing those movements.
Because I couldn't
you
do it
couldn't
anymore.
do them.
I was forced
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do movements that I was like, oh, these are going to be movements that are weak, or these are movements that like the old school guys didn't do. I
Yeah.
have to barbell row. I have to do that. Nope. And I was on a chest supported T-bar row and a pin loaded row and a lat pull over cable, and then my back grew, and I'm like, oh. Wow, it's a lot of wasted time,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
There's a lot of 5-plate deadlifts in there for
Wow.
years and years,
Yeah.
like 3, 4, 5-plate deadlifts for 15, 20 reps. Like,
Right.
my back didn't grow. It grew.
But not at
my
the rate,
erectors
yeah.
grew.
I remember there was this
Like
phase
glutes
where
grew.
we were on this like heavy rack pull,
Oh,
like
man.
crusade.
Like 6
and
plate
every
rack
other
pulls,
week,
man.
one of us would come hobbling into the gym and be like, dude, my back's gone again. And neither of us were smart enough to realize maybe we should stop doing this. We'd be like, well, let's just sit it out this 1 week, but next week we'll be back. And then,
But what do we do with, like, we're going down a rabbit hole. What do we do
Yeah.
with rack pulls now, though? We didn't toss them aside completely.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just said prioritization.
You
like Dorian
contract
did.
the lats when you're pulling up.
So I thought, well, let me pre-exhaust. Not really pre-exhaust, it's just prioritization. Let me put it at
Yeah.
the end.
yeah.
Where
Less
I'm not
weight.
as strong on
Exactly.
purpose.
Right.
So now from an injury prevention standpoint,
Yeah.
I don't have to lift as much load, but I'm getting more out of it.
Right.
I also band it
Yep.
Yeah.
because I'm focused more on moving it with intent.
Yes.
Right.
And
And
not
now
just
I can get my
the weight.
rhomboids, lats, everything. I can get those pumped from rack
Right.
pull where I used to just use my hip drive
Yeah.
and just because I could, strength's not usually not sound like an egotistical.
person.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't swear. Thank you. Filtered here. You know,
We don't beep anything out.
It's good unfiltered then. But you know, I can move weight to move weight.
Yeah.
Like strength's not the problem for me. It
Right.
never has been. I
Yeah.
can move a lot.
Yeah.
Well, when you start as early as you did.
Well, that's true. Yeah. That's well, I was way better. I tell people this all the time. I was way better at powerlifting than I was bodybuilding. Powerlifting was like fairly easy.
Yeah.
There's the bar, lift it. I'm like, okay. Like, and then I got good
Right.
at form and all that, but like, it was getting my muscles to grow because I'm not genetically gifted to grow a bunch of tissue fast.
Okay.
I'm not.
I'm glad you said that.
I'm not. Because people look at me like, oh, and especially not now. I'm like, I don't look big at all right now, but
Okay, you do. You might not to yourself. But that actually, while we're sitting here, that was another trend I wanted to talk a little bit about, and that is I've been seeing there's a lot of companies popping up that are now doing genetic testing and analyzing for health, like not health related reasons, but for fitness related reasons. And they're then putting out, here's exactly what you should be eating, here's exactly how you should be lifting and what kind of exercise.
Right.
I'm so curious as to what they're using
That's a good question.
to deem that. Do you know what I'm saying?
to see where your genetics are superior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of
And
like when they do like blood typing.
I was gonna say it's
for,
like blood. It's like blood work, right?
You're AB positive, so you need less red meat and more of this. I don't know how accurate that really is, though, because that's a good question. What
I
are they
agree.
using to determine? Okay, Brandy, we tested your genetics, and your genetics say you should be doing high volume and low weight. How do you? What mechanism are you testing that with?
Exactly.
That's a great question.
I think it's something we need to dive into because I think it's
Yeah.
going to be
It
not
is.
today necessarily, but we need to
I'll tell you
research that.
my philosophy on
Bring
genetics,
Mr. Dan in.
and it's that's a good idea. Well, he could talk about genetic engineering, but
That's far beyond my scope.
yeah.
I do.
But I mean, all of our scopes is learn your body.
Yes.
Well, that's what. Yeah.
Try it.
It's a
Give it
culmination of
enough
What worked
time.
and what didn't.
Yeah.
And then coaching people to see what worked and what didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you have a giant book basically of that knowledge.
Yes.
And that's where you pick up on things that work and don't work.
Yeah.
And then you have basic things where people are like, I don't know if that's going to work. And like, okay, well, this is like a basic principle that's definitely going to work. Like,
But there's certain things that everyone's body has certain parts that genetically respond to stimulus different than
Yes.
others.
Yeah.
It's interesting for us because like for Blake and I, it's basically the polar opposite.
It is.
Blake can do like one set of leg extensions and his legs grow. I can train my legs till I'm dying and my legs just are very stubborn. But then I can do one bicep curl and my arm is double the size. And
Literally.
I don't understand.
math.
I don't know what test there is to know why genetics are like that, but just segments of certain people's bodies hyper respond and don't hyper respond, and that's if someone could tell you based on a test what that is
Wouldn't
and
that
why
be
it is,
cool?
that would be awesome. My guess is that right now that's just a new trend that they can charge a bunch of money for and be like, let me tell you, Blake, this is your genetic makeup. That they don't know.
Yeah.
I think
Off of that, that's it. What made your legs grow?
training with Blake.
And what was that?
Heavy weight and volume at the same time.
And
Intensity. Yeah.
And you had to train your legs different than you had to train anything else in your body.
There's certain my shoulders and my arms. I don't like to say, but like I don't have to put a lot of effort or intensity into it, and they grow.
Right.
But with legs, for example, that's like my struggle
I
point.
wonder if you are still putting intensity into it,
Or maybe the intensity comes
but it's
more
easy
naturally.
for you. Like,
whereas
you got-
here, that's I have to really put a lot of concerted effort into it.
But intensity, there's like, it's how you, that's like semantics, right? But is that the
yeah,
right?
because what is intensity to
you-
everyone?
that's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm loud in the gym. I yell.
Yeah.
Like, I not because I'm trying to get people's attention, just because I don't. That's why I've done it. My dad used to yell at me for it. Stop yelling when you like, and that you can be more intense than I am and not have a peep.
Right.
It's how are you applying that intensity?
Yeah.
Is it controlled aggression that's with intent,
Right.
or are you just slamming the weight up and down as fast as you can, as hard as you can, as loud as you
look
can?
cool.
That's not intensity.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
That's
Yeah.
showing
that's
off.
just well,
That's
it's a little
stupidity.
ego in
Yeah.
improper form. What were you gonna say before that?
Charles Poliquin was a strength coach. Have you heard of him?
Oh,
He passed away.
You have to hear, yeah.
Okay.
He's the godfather.
So he helped a lot of women win, like set world records in lifting
He's-
and so on.
Charles is, yeah. If you haven't heard of Charles Paul,
Okay.
you need to get every book he's ever written, and yeah, I'm a huge fan.
He was big into research, but didn't he talk a lot about personality?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he said your routine has to match your personality.
the psyche behind
Wh-
sport. He talked a lot about.
Yeah.
It. Mhm.
I can see that.
Sports psychology is really interesting. It's
But-
fascinating.
So if
That's-
you
yeah.
enjoy bicep training,
yeah.
Yeah.
you don't look like you're putting effort to get the same intensity, but you're still getting it.
Because you're having a good time.
Because you're having a good
Yeah.
time.
And then think about this too. I wonder how much the mindset is playing into that, right? Because you go, I don't even have to put that much into it. My bicep just grows.
So then the
How
mental
much
block.
of that
Yeah.
is
That's-
that?
Yeah.
You know, how much of that growth is because
Like the
you
simplicity of
already
it?
know,
Yeah.
It's a positive
Or the
outcome.
confident- the
Yeah,
confidence in it.
confidence.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
do you know what I mean?
100%.
So maybe your next legs workout, you need to
Well, that's the thing,
pretend
'cause
that's your bicep.
Conversely,
Yeah,
going
yeah.
into leg training, in my head subconsciously, I'm like, oh, this is going to be so hard. I'm not good at this. I'm not even trying to think that, but you don't even realize subconsciously that is what you're thinking.
Well, we were created to
I was
create.
gonna say it's human
Right?
nature,
So
yeah.
our what we speak, that we are creating
Mm-hmm.
with every single word, which is why we harp on our patients and on our kids and everyone else so much that, you know, what you're saying out loud, you are subconsciously
Believe.
telling your
Yeah.
body what to do.
Yep.
Like it
does
follows.
matter. It does.
It does.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's not just like magic hocus pocus. Like it's.
Yeah.
it's
I remember you told the story the last time about your dog in the water, and like,
Yeah.
you're like, I couldn't keep going, but you told yourself I can. Like, it's the
Right.
same
You kept
concept
going.
of you told yourself you can do this, you
Right.
must do this,
Yeah.
and you did it. But in that moment, you thought, "There's no way I'm going to do this." That's what human nature is. But yeah, your self talk is very important.
Yeah. What do you say to yourself? I mean, it's an actual question. What do you say to yourself? You're doing, let's say, a superset. You had me doing supersets with leg extensions and leg press in my last routine, and I had
love
to do 2-minute rest. After the leg press, go back to leg extension. I had to do a minimum of 15 reps. So I had to do 15 to 20 reps, heavy as I can.
Yep.
No rest between leg extension and leg
that's
press.
what made my
Into
so,
miss.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and,
it.
and so you got to say something to yourself
You have
when
to
you
turn
get to
something
like
on.
the 11th rep
Yeah.
and you want to stop, but
Yeah.
you're like, Blake said, keep it moving and don't lock out at the top and
Don't do it.
don't pause. You finish it. You know, so what I say to myself is I always go, now we grow. So like when I get to the point where I'm like, I can't do anymore,
That's
I go,
when the growth
everything
is.
I did up to now
That's right.
doesn't count.
That's correct.
This is when I grow. And like I say that to myself and it helps me get through that last part. What do you guys say to yourselves? I mean, how do you psych yourself up?
You
There
don't.
you go. You don't
There's a lot
want
of
me to-
demons coming out of
keeping
it.
ready.
I mean, honestly, one of the I'll go a little deep with it. Not to scare people. Oh, okay, cool. So
I don't know if we want to know Blake's inner thoughts mid leg.
yeah, I won't tell you what it thoughts pretty bad. But no,
It's a
I
dark
mean,
place.
this is where it seriously is therapy for me though. And this is like you
Yeah.
put all the training, all the science, all the crap, you put it away. I thrive in that environment, man. I look for it. I search for it.
Well, I remember you saying
That
when
back
everyone's
against the
running out of the
wall.
building, you're running in.
Oh, yeah,
like
dude.
when
I'm
you were a
like-
police officer.
It's a little bit of like this mix of it's like the feeling I get like when I'm on my bike, same thing. Like
A
a
rush,
high,
yeah.
and a rush, a high speed, or going into a situation that's like it can be really bad. There's something about it that just attracts me to it. So like sometimes when I'm on the leg press or whatever, legs especially,
Yeah.
like you're in a set and you're like, you feel like you're gonna die. You're like, this is incredibly bad right now.
Right.
I'm almost like, this is hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose it right now. So I like when I was a kid, I could channel. I learned over time how to channel. I had a lot of aggression, a lot of issues with it, with like a lot of family issues and stuff. But like I learned how to channel and like kind of block it all in. I call it like the closet of demons. Like I always
Yeah.
thought. But like to be able to call on that when you need it,
Yeah.
that's where it's a gift,
Yeah.
right? Because if you were just
Yeah.
Angry.
angry all the time and were a bad person, I mean, that could go really bad. I mean, some of your best criminals and things that over time were like angry, like, or whatever, demons kind of thing. Like, if you can control that,
Right.
it's like a fighter. Same
Right,
thing.
like the
And
Incredible
let it
Hulk.
out at the right time.
Yeah.
It's literally,
It's
beats
that
any
second
supplement, beats
personality.
anything. That's where the strength comes from.
Yeah.
It's like the will to survive kind of thing. And one thing I do say to myself sometimes is that it's almost like a fear of abandonment, and that's probably from a lot of issues. That's where I was going to go deeper. But no one's coming to get me.
Yeah.
No one's coming. That's how I've been
Right.
successful my whole life.
Yeah.
No one. There is no safety net.
Yeah.
Or people have their parents to fall back on, whatever. I'm sorry, mom and dad, but like No one's coming, man.
You remember
So
the
if
movie?
the building's burning,
Yeah.
fire department's not showing up, man. Put it out
Right.
Right.
because no one's coming to save me. So better get it off your chest or get it off out of the hole. Like,
That's awesome.
yeah. So
You guys remember the movie Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone?
I feel like I have seen
It's
that.
it's the arm wrestling
Arm
movie.
wrestling.
Yeah.
So he tells his kid, he goes, "The world meets nobody halfway. If you want it, you got to take it."
Wow.
And that's what that reminded me of.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna say to yourself next time you're on that?
Well,
you're
I
doing
just say to
legs?
myself, if I don't finish this set, Blake's gonna kill me. So I better finish this. I mean, I've learned through. It's honestly from training with Blake. It's like there's things I've probably said to myself. I don't really know what it is, but it's learning to again channel that aggression or whatever you want to call it into it, and just knowing that getting to the other side of finishing the set, knowing that reward is coming, and that feeling of success or completion or whatever of in my head I'm like, you're only 5 reps away from that feeling, and then it's only 4 and it's only 3, so it's almost like you're reassuring yourself every single time. You're just it's only 3 more, now it's only 2 more, and it's like almost at a certain point you have to take it just 1 rep at a time, and just stay in it and stay focused. You almost get channeled tunnel vision
That's what I
on
was gonna say.
just it's almost like at a certain point, especially on legs, the whole world stops, and all I see is the leg press ahead of me, and my legs coming up and down, and then literally nothing matters. But for some reason, I think that's my addiction almost to training. I love that feeling when training gets so intense that the whole world turns off, and all I see and feel is that movement and the completion of that. I'm like, I love this.
That just made me so happy though.
Awesome.
That's the coolest thing ever because you didn't have that before.
I didn't. No, that was a learned.
But I can see when someone
that's a
channels
learned
that
skill for sure.
you can see it in someone's eye.
Yeah,
How many times do I come up off a set? Not every set because it takes a lot of energy to go to that place.
it does.
When I have to go to that place, I don't go to like dumbbell curls and like go to the nasty place. It's like there's certain selective sets that I do. It's not like a whole training session. I'm like angry, right? And I might have a whole training session where I'm not like that at all. But then there's somewhere I'm
yesterday,
like,
you don't go there. I was training arms,
and I had a great arm workout, but I don't need to go there, right? But how many times I come up under a bar or whatever, you're like, where were you? Like my eyes are just gone. I'm gone, man. I can't hear anything. I can't see it. It's like you're out of body like experience.
It almost
That's
is
what it feels like for me.
But
I have to like when I slam the weight down or like I usually am like in a shaker like because I'm like I gotta snap out.
I gotta like
quick,
walk
come back
away.
because I'm like, well, people are gonna think I'm crazy.
It's almost like you like went to the moon and you have to like okay, I'm back here home on planet Earth.
Dave
again.
Tate calls it on Elite FTS. He calls it the void. And like it's a gift to be able to go to that and channel that.
Right.
It's cool to hear you because you didn't train like that at all.
I didn't.
And now he can.
I thought I did until we started training. I thought I was.
But you almost have to be a sense of calm. Because if you're so angry and so out of control, you just made everything harder for yourself.
It's the most.
So it's so much aggression that you're almost like calm yourself down.
Well, I was gonna say it
Like
has
being in the eye of the storm.
Yes, exactly, and it
Seriously,
almost has like this euphoric feeling of like it sounds like a muscle masochist thing or whatever, but it's like it hurts so much that it just somehow feels good in a weird way, and then you get the sense of accomplishment of like I didn't think I was going to complete that set. Now I did it, and then you're like, let's do another one.
That's the best
because
part.
I can keep going.
That's the part I really like. Is when I break past something I couldn't do before.
Oh man, it's the greatest
and
thing
I get
ever.
that extra rep or extra couple pounds. It feels really good.
Because that little win in the day, you're like, I completed something, and then you want to do it again and again and again.
Well, what do we say to that person who, because there's a whole bunch of people who are like, okay, yeah, I get that.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say how many listeners did we just lose?
Yeah, they're like, who
what
are these psychos?
I think it's good though because it's such a spectrum, but there's a whole group of people that go, how do I flip the switch to get my butt in there? So that I can then find
start the
that
process.
spot,
You're right.
Because I mean, I even struggle with that switch sometimes.
Sure.
Now, when that switch gets flipped for me, it's like I am all in. I'm super extreme, but I'm
starting
extremist
point.
in everything.
Exactly, but you do it now with other it's just not in the gym all the time, right? Like
that's the challenge is that you can't be extreme in everything in your
that's
life all the
exhausting.
time, right?
Yeah.
Because
Nope,
it's
you'll burn out.
exhausting. So
Both of you are extreme. You can't be a successful business owner if you're not extremist.
yeah, I agree.
What do you agree? Like to some extent, it's something.
Yeah, 100%.
She says I'm autistic.
Yeah. He's got autism.
Maybe
or
you are. We probably are.
I mean, we're definitely on the spectrum a little bit. Like, you know, there's
We're not
everyone
normal.
will say most entrepreneurs have ADD, ADHD.
Oh yeah,
like there
for sure.
is
Your mind just is constantly going.
constantly going.
All the time.
So what is it that someone can? Is there something we can give to someone to help them? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe everybody has to find their own. But what is it that will
a good
help
question.
somebody flip that switch to just get into Unrivaled? Do you know, or get into any gym?
Right.
Or
So people are motivated by 3 P's.
pain,
Pain,
pleasure.
pleasure, purpose.
I
So
thought you were
so
going to say money.
honey,
Doesn't start with the, it doesn't start with the
Money.
P.
money and
Power.
Pierogies.
Yes.
Power's one.
power.
Yeah, power.
Sorry.
Pierogies. But I think so pain is a deterrent. So as a
Right.
motivation, you either
most
running
people-
away from pain or you're running towards pleasure. But then when you throw purpose into it, you're like, this is my purpose. So I go, okay, I have 4.5 years left on this goal I
Not
set.
on Earth.
No, but like
I know what
but
you
like
meant.
I was like I'm gonna bodybuild for 10 years, and I'm gonna try to try everything I need to do and
Yeah.
see what comes out of these 10 years. So halfway through, I'm not quitting, I'm not stopping. So that's my purpose. So the pain won't deter me.
Right.
And I think animals are more pain pleasure, and that's it. Humans have that purpose-driven
Right.
desire in there. So if you but let's say the person who doesn't leave the home to go to the gym, and they every day they go, I need to go, I want to go, I'm going to start working out. Well, I'll start tomorrow. That person needs to think about what their purpose for
Yeah.
that is, and figure out how to associate enough pain to not going,
That's
Yeah.
right.
so that pain
flip that
exceeds the
pain
pain
pleasure.
of actually going.
It's
Yeah.
almost like the buy-in process. You've heard me maybe say this in check-ins. Like, you have to set timelines so you know what your goals are.
Right.
You can't just meander about
Can't
and be
be
like, yeah, I
endless.
don't like know why I'm doing it. You have to know what the purpose is.
Right.
Why am I here and why am I going to the gym? Why am I waking up early in the morning? Why am I making all my meals? Why am I? It's a lot. It's exhausting. But if you can get someone to buy in on it and they just trust and believe in the process and they trust in their own purpose for whatever goal they have, and you keep reminding them of that goal, and the weeks go on and they get a little bit more successful every day and every week they go by, then by week 3 or 4 or whatever, they lose 3 pounds and they lose 5 and they lose
Yeah.
another 3 and they lose and then they get going that, and now they see the change.
Correct. And
Now
then
they get
now it's easy.
the pleasure. The
Right.
pleasure is looking in the
Right.
mirror and
Yes.
going, oh my gosh, I'm
Working.
changing.
Right.
Oh my gosh, my belt size went down.
Right.
Oh my God, I can fit in that shirt now.
Right.
You're getting rewards for it.
Yeah.
You're getting a return on your investment.
Right.
And if you get someone to that spot,
Right.
and for some people that might take 2 to 3 weeks, might take months,
Yeah.
might take a year, might take a year of back and forth. And it's whether they can be patient or stick it out and, trust the process.
Because the pain isn't just sometimes the pain is not the workout, right? It's not the physical pain.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mental
Mm-hmm.
pain because when you don't see the result and you're in that
You're putting
flux,
all this time in
that's
and you're like,
painful,
what?
and it's hard to stay motivated,
Yep.
right? That's where you struggle more.
Okay, so you were saying that's where my struggle is. I want everybody to hear that, like what my
Yeah.
struggle is, because I'll verbally beat myself up, going I not in these words, but I go the concept behind it is I knew I didn't have what it takes.
Right,
It's
that's where
almost
you
which
go.
becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like I knew it.
Right.
Like maybe I don't have what it takes, but I don't stay there
stay
as
there.
long.
No, you don't
Um,
stay there long.
It's okay to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too.
Everyone has self-doubt and whatever you want to frame that
It's
as.
okay to
That's-
like
Yeah.
temporarily give up, which you're not.
Right.
You're not.
Right.
I mean, I would
Just
tell you,
for
yeah.
a second, just be like, all right, I'm taking the rest of the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just be like, you know what? I just need to like step away from this for a second
Yep.
so I can regain focus on it. Because now's not the time, and all I'm doing is sending myself in a negative feedback loop.
Right.
Because I'm
Which
in this
is super detrimental.
mental thunderstorm of like,
Yeah.
it's chaotic and this is too much and I'm not getting anywhere. I'm just gonna beat myself down.
Right.
Well,
And then we know the body follows.
what you just were saying,
Right.
Yeah.
So
what
then,
you're putting out in the universe.
Yep.
Yep.
And then it does become a self-fulfilling
Your
prophecy,
emotions will
which
eat
is-
you alive every time.
my gosh.
Right?
So self-confidence, I heard this from a podcaster. He said the self-confidence is developed by keeping the promises you make to yourself. Because it's your confidence in you.
Yeah.
So if you say, I'm doing this for 10 years, and then you stop after 5 years, you just broke a promise to yourself.
which is
So
the worst.
the next promise you make to yourself will not believe you.
Yep.
Which is where a lot of people
Really
are
true.
who say, I'm going to the gym tomorrow. When they don't go, their self-confidence just tanked. When they do that 3 days in a row, 3 weeks in a row, there is zero self-confidence. And then because there's two of us in us. I believe that.
there is.
Because
Some have
animals
more.
don't get mad at
No, I
themselves,
agree.
right?
Yeah.
Humans get mad at themselves. So
Oh,
who's
yeah.
getting mad at who? Like people who hurt themselves? Like who's hurting who?
I
Like
can't believe I just did that.
yeah, like you
And then you do
can
it
get.
again.
So there's two of
Yeah.
you in you. So you can call it conscious, subconscious mind, or whatever else you want to call it. But there's two of you, and one of you needs to believe in the other one,
Yes.
and vice versa. And the minute you say, "I'm going to do this," and you don't do it, you will not believe in yourself anymore. And then it gets harder and harder and harder and harder. So for that reason, I always make sure if I say I'm going to do something.
Follow through.
So the other night, Sunday night, I was out all. That's why I didn't check in this week.
Yeah.
I was out all day Sunday. So we had church. Then I had a meeting. Then I had another meeting. Then we all went out to go to a concert, and I didn't get home till
11:23.
23. So by the time, so I got to prep my meals for the next day, and then by the time I go to bed, it's 12:30.
Yeah.
Right.
Monday, so my routine changed, so
Correct.
I can't rest on Mondays anymore.
Right.
Mondays push. No, Mondays legs B. So
Right.
so whatever. But so I go, okay, and I have to be at work before 8 a.m., which means, all right, I got to wake up at 4:20 in the morning. So it's already 12:30 at night. I got to get up at 4:20 in the morning. That's because that's the only way I'll be able to get to the gym, get everything, get to work on time.
Yep.
And I go, so that's what I'll do. That's what I did.
did?
I didn't like it. I hated it. I was sleepy all day that day.
Right.
But you know what? I know it would have been a whole lot worse if I said I'm going to do it and not do it.
I wouldn't
Yes.
have wanted him to come home
Right.
because he gets so mad at himself. Like it is, which, I think most people are like that, or they should be like that when they let themselves down. Do you know what I mean? You're not willing to let yourself down or not follow through, which is why you're
I
gonna
just
end
feel
up
like
being
the
successful in the
the
end.
same reason, like I give a list of exercises to every patient at certain mile markers. Well, I have a list for myself. It takes 17 and a half minutes. And it's all mobilization, moving, spine, stretching stuff. And I haven't missed a day in, I don't know, 15 years. Not a single day. We were camping in the woods. And the kids will tell you, Dad got up in the morning and he's rolling around on the grass doing his mobilization because I won't miss a day because I can't.
So that's where you thrive.
Yeah.
though, right. So just to play off that, what if you did take a rest day on that Monday, but you knew it was okay to take the
It was
rest day?
planned. It's
Yeah.
intentional.
If I plan it, I decide the night before that I'm going to rest the next day, then I'm okay. But if I
Right.
say I'm going to get up at 4:20, alarm goes off, I don't want to, I don't feel like it, it's too hard, there's no option. I don't have that. I say because I said it, I'm going to do it. Muhammad Ali walked around going, I'm the greatest.
Yeah.
I firmly believe the only reason he said that is so that when his alarm clock would go off at 5 a.m, he had to go run 3 miles.
Yeah.
He'd be like, I just told everybody I'm the greatest.
Oh yeah.
I got to back it up.
I do that though too. I'll say things out loud, even if it's to Elise, like my wife, like
Yeah.
or if I say it to him. I say this stuff out loud all the time because it's like I don't want to let you down. So I'm like that kind of like and you don't look at it this way, but I'm like I kind of made a promise that I need to get that done
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I'm a man of my word. I'm going to make sure I
Right.
get it done.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean I
Try
get
not to
that.
promise things.
So I think those who have Yeah, I mean, but
I'm
those
just not gonna say anything anymore.
if they knew, like, I
trying.
know the detrimental effects of not doing my spinal mobilization exercises because I see
You lived it.
X-rays of patients
right.
all the time.
And
So
you lived
and I had two
horrible
herniated discs in my
experience.
back,
Yeah.
and I suffered and had pain and all that stuff. So I don't want to go through that again. So I'm very motivated to make sure I never miss that. If everybody listening would know the negative effects of breaking a promise they make to themselves, they'd never do it again.
Yeah. And then if you do, here's the kicker. You have to forgive yourself.
That's what I was saying. How do you get out of that if you do?
You have to,
You're going to.
Unforgiveness of anything in your life, whether it be internally or externally, is one of the greatest I think cause of failure in someone's life.
Yeah. Well,
And anxiety, there's all sorts of things that follow a lack of forgiveness in your life regardless, but we tend to forgive other people way easier than
it's
we
an
forgive
actual
ourselves.
biblical
Yeah.
principle of putting the past behind you, keeping your eyes on the prize, and moving forward.
Absolutely.
The cool
So
thing
I-
about the Monday is too that you're probably going to be tired at the end of the day no matter what. But
Yes.
now you were tired and accomplished instead of tired and then defeated
Right.
that you also let yourself down.
Right.
So if you're going to be tired either way, at least be successful when you're tired
Yeah.
and feel good at the end. So when you went to bed, you're like, I'm exhausted, but I did what I said I was going to do. Now,
Right.
I'm exhausted, and now I'm also mulling over the fact that I also didn't do what I was supposed to do. Now you're tired from that, and you're tired from the day, so it makes it even worse.
Yeah.
So just do
Absolutely.
this
but-
stuff.
So in the world we live in now, this kind of ties into some of the things we were saying. Is like there's so much information out there that you could almost make up the idea that, well, if I don't do this thing because I might have too much cortisol and I might do this and that. It's
Right.
like, you know what, man? Sometimes you just have to do the damn work.
Yeah.
Just shut up
Yeah.
and do the work.
That's
it.
Forget some of the science.
Yeah, just let it
Exactly.
Forget some
and
of the
overcomplicate. Or it's
Correct.
now
Not
in
that
today's
the science
world,
is wrong.
Yeah.
but,
No,
like,
it's not.
If you rely on the science for everything, now you're not doing anything.
It also gives people an easy excuse, like, well, my cortisol is high, or my autoimmune complex, or this or that, or this is too not good for you and whatever. But it's like, perfect example for the past 3 months. I would say every single day there were things where we were building the expansion of the gym. We absolutely did not want to do them.
Yeah.
But we could make up all the excuses in the world. I'm
Yep.
tired, I'm this, my knees hurt, whatever.
Yep.
Like, but guess what? We still just went to the gym and did it, and we didn't leave until we checked all the boxes.
Yep.
But you know it as business owners. What every single day you do stuff you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you get ahead in
And now
life.
people are like, I can't believe you guys did
No matter
this
what it
expansion.
is.
How you did it so fast? How you did it so soon? How did you do it? That's how we did
That's
it.
it.
We
The
just
secret to
kept
success
doing it.
Yeah.
Is doing what you don't want to do and doing it with a smile on your face.
That's it.
Exactly. There's no other
And then you get
secret
good
as
at
to
it.
how we accomplished it other than we just showed up and we did the things that other people refused to do.
Right.
That's
Yep.
it.
You think farmers worry about how much
No.
cortisol they have in their
No.
body?
And
Nope.
why do everyone say, "Oh, they lived on a farm. They were so and so. They're a hard worker."
Yeah.
Why? Because they had to wake up at 4:30 to.
You
milk
got to
the
feed
cows
the
every
animals.
day.
You got
There's
to
a
you got to
system,
rake. You
yeah.
got to
Yeah.
Whether
Plow,
you were
you gotta
sick,
push.
whether it doesn't matter. What
There
you
were
feel. Your emotion
there
doesn't
were
matter.
people
You just
that
had to get
depended on you.
Yeah.
That's
right?
right. Yes.
Right?
So you must go on.
Why are like mothers resilient, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because you have to
You
care for
have
your baby.
no
Yeah.
choice.
Can't be like, sorry, sick day, kids, just go do what you want. You can't
And
do
granted,
that.
there are
Mothers
people
and
who do
fathers,
that.
sorry, parents in general,
Yes.
right?
Been watching a lot of true crime lately, and there's a lot of people who do just that, right?
Yeah.
So there's plenty of those kind of people, but the vast
Yeah.
majority, they do the right thing and
Correct.
they do the hard thing. But
Yep.
you can apply that to everything in your life.
Everything,
But most people
not just
stop.
fitness and
Right.
Yeah.
They stop at the, well, I'll do it because
Yeah,
that's
any
my
ounce
kid.
of
Right.
adversity, even if it's not even the physical, the mental. Not that I'm denouncing mental health, but so many people are like, oh, I can't do that because like I'm sad or depressed, I'm anxious, or any mental health
or as
condition.
simple as I'm not a morning
there,
person.
I don't feel like it today. I'm like, well,
Yeah, but is
you
it-
have to.
is it like I always say that I'm not a morning person.
Me either.
Is it that I'm not a morning person or that I don't prioritize my stuff the right
Yeah,
way to
uh-huh.
make sure I'm up early in the morning?
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's that.
Put it
how you
back on
frame it.
Put it back
Yeah.
on yourself.
Oh, well,
Thanks.
it's called accountability.
Yeah.
I'm able to look at myself in the mirror and be like, yep, I stayed up way too late last night. I keep going into that same cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
So
you
I'm not
thing.
a morning person because I go to bed late.
Yeah.
That's on me.
It's just a habit change.
It's called ownership.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, that is truth. Ugh, painful truth.
Yeah, well, We didn't get to talk about
We didn't talk
melatonin.
about melatonin at all.
So it's we'll do it
All of our
next.
conversations happen like this.
Next
so.
time,
editing
article
melatonin.
first.
Yeah,
We should know that by now.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. That's all right. But
Just go to bed. You'll get it. Yeah.
That's right. It's good stuff. We'll talk about it for sure next time. I think we hit some really good things.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we helped a lot of people.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything extreme, but I think that the takeaways from today is whatever you want really badly, you need to put some intensity behind it. And you also have to believe in yourself, and you increase your self-confidence by keeping your promises that you make to yourself. It's more important to keep your word to yourself than to keep your word to other people. You keep your word to yourself, you'll naturally keep your word to other people too.
Yes,
You'll just be
yes.
that person of integrity. And lastly, you want to be super successful, do what you don't like doing and do it with a smile on your face.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us. We had fun. Hopefully you had fun too. We'll definitely bring you guys back again.
Yeah,
absolutely.
These are awesome conversations.
Because we didn't even get to talk about all the other stuff going on at the gym, all the other
Yeah.
offerings. We stopped
yeah.
at the
Like some of the people that may be
Yeah,
a
that
part of
might
the
be
gym.
coming to the gym. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, so exciting stuff. There's a physical therapist coming in, massage therapist, Annette. She's awesome. We refer to her all the time too. She's bringing in lots of offerings. And then starting hopefully in August, we will have our third location, and we'll be opening the doors
Yes.
inside Unrivaled.
Very
So,
excited.
We'll officially be in the bigger step forward of Unrivaled Wellness Center.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's
One-stop
where we're headed.
shop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but you don't wait till August. Stop by and visit.
Yep.
We'll give you a tour. We'll show you around. Check out the store. Check out all the equipment. And then
Absolutely.
Saturday there's a posing clinic there
Yep.
this week. But this is unfortunately going to air after that. So maybe if you guys have like a footage or something, we
Yeah.
can,
Yeah, there'll be plenty of
Definitely.
social media.
perfect. Yeah,
Post it and whatever.
we'll tag it and link it and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they
yeah.
can check it out. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
guys being
Appreciate
here.
it as always.
Take care, everybody.
Next time.
This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.